Four or five. Okay, hearing myself now. So yeah, this year podcasting is a beautiful machine. Sure, for myself, it's a great offer, right? Because it scales to pretty much anyone in B2B, but it is also the best offer, I think, and most accessible offer to pretty much any business out there. Anyone can start a podcast, basically. But yeah, I'm gonna get into these points. If you're not subscribed to my newsletter, you can go ahead. It's called SEO's Thoughts, so you can Google it. It's a Substack. So why is podcasting the greatest thing since sliced bread? Because it is fun for you. You will learn as a business owner. It's fun for the person you invite. It will generate tons of content. I use, for example, Opus um, to cut my shorts. You can use a simple Zoom call to film the actual thing. It's free, right? To make these happen. I like StreamYard. It's higher quality than Zoom for sure, and it goes live. Now I just learned that I need to buy a premium account on my Twitter. Sure, I'll do that, I guess. Although I don't have much views on my Twitter, plus I'm shadow banned. More on that later. This year, um, yeah, the podcast funnel is something that is were to be tried by pretty much any B2B founder out there. So you invite your ICP to a podcast instead of a sales demo call. They'll say yes to that because they're tired of the same offers, right? You'll publish the podcast to your audience, so they'll benefit from that. Plus, anyone loves to be in question and loves to be in the limelight. And even some preface to that. If you've followed me on this channel, you know that cold email is my preferred method of outreach. I've tried it all. I've run a call centers with 200 humans. I've run Facebook ads agencies. I've run a LinkedIn outreach agency when you could connect with 500 people a day. I've run AdWords. I've tried SEO, pretty much everything. And cold email is the most scalable lead gen method out there. And it's the most consistent. It's the most scalable, period. So yeah, that premise is really solid in B2B for most businesses, right? It's not true for all businesses, but um, it's a premise that's really hard to challenge. And what we've been observing when you're sending cold emails, that people will not say yes to a demo call, a sales discovery call, but they will say yes to a podcast. Some people even get offended when you offer them some sales call. If you're not so good at writing emails, which I was when I started, you're going to get a lot of no's. You're going to get people flagging you as spam. And when that happens, your open rates have a really high chance of falling quite dramatically and most likely never recovering. So when you send a podcast invite, you will get very few people flagging you as spam, right? Um, that's also the basis of it. So if you send a bunch of invites via cold email to your ICP, a bunch will say yes. You will get nice open rates and you will get free publicity plus crap loads of leads. So this is the full thesis behind that one. So here I covered point one, I covered point two. Yeah, so what people also need to understand is that a podcast call, a great podcast call, is just like a great sales discovery call. What is a great sales discovery call? A great sales discovery call is pretty much all about them. It's all about them. It's all about you asking them great questions and helping them solve their problem. You're sort of a consultant, right? Doing that, you not only add value to them, but you signal your intellect and your capability to solve problems, which is what business is about value and solving people's problem. And if you overflow their glasses with water, the water that will fall from the glass is the excedent. It's the money they will pay you to work with you to buy your services. That's a pretty solid thesis. So the podcast is the beginning of that funnel, right? It's the beginning of you trying to pour water in their glass, and it's a great intro. It's a great door opener. It's a first contact. It's a 0 to 1. It's them entering your funnel and potentially becoming clients after you've touched 50, 100 times with value to them, whether it's in the form of a newsletter, LinkedIn post, remarketing, videos, shorts, right? Content can be shared in lots of ways in the B2B realm nowadays, but the podcast is that invitations is the same as a sales call. The sales call is obviously the intention is more oriented, right? The customer is like, hey, fix my problem. And the salesperson is like, yeah, give me your money. So, and the podcast is a bit different, right? It's you can orient most of your question around sales around your product. In my case, like, hey, what's your ICP? What are your growth goals? Do you do cold outreach? Do you have lead gen in place? But the podcast is also just plain curiosity, right? It's generating great content, it's edutainment, it's learning, it's sharing, it's fun. Okay, so podcasting is all of that. So why this point is important here is that at some point I used to get 100 meetings per week with these podcasts. Now these meetings, they're not the same quality as sales meetings. Sales meetings, they have a 30% close rate. Podcasts, you'll close maybe 10% of your client, which is still pretty significant when you're getting 100 meetings per week, right? And yeah, it's also most likely to be the first time these people do a podcast, so they're still practicing. They'll remember you for quite some time, but you can count them as sales calls. So that's important to understand. The long-term connection aspect, just describe like, yeah, your first touch with them, they'll remember you, especially if the interview was great. Plus, you can subscribe them to all your media and constantly touch back with them. I constantly post on LinkedIn, and people will see my stuff for sure, especially if they've went to my profile and checked my content and so forth. Once the podcast is done, guess what these people will do? They're proud of their interview. They want to share their knowledge and their thought leadership. So they'll just share to their audience. And guess who's in their audience most of the time? The exact people you're targeting. An ICP will be connected with more ICP. They'll be connected with colleagues from their job, aka more decision makers. They'll be connected with competitors most of the time to check their content on LinkedIn and so forth. It's just free publicity for you. They're sharing you as an authority to their own network, right? So that's another piece of genius behind podcasting. There's nowhere else where people would actually share this piece of content to their own network, right? Like you can try to convince someone, like, hey, post more about this, post that thing so that you can sell more of my product as an affiliate. But no, the podcast is really where people will actually do it. So here, understanding needs, that one is quite powerful. So you'll get a lot of data points on the podcast. So you'll certainly learn that they have this pain points, that they are facing this problem, that this is their reality, for example. So yeah, you will learn tons on a podcast. And as a market research machine, I don't know anything like it. It's so powerful when you have someone that is like, hey, I'm facing this challenge, this growth challenge. I'm not getting enough clients nowadays. Um, I've tried this agency, it didn't work. So as a market research machine, the podcast is unequaled. Often I start campaigns with my clients, and some of them are not going anywhere. We're going direct sales. And then I'm like, yo, we need to get people on a podcast to get more market research of your audience. My clients, they probably know about their clients. Some of them don't know as well, but some of them also forget. Some of them are not good at communicating that info with me, and some of them have known their clients 6 months ago, but now their clients have changed, because it's a moving target. So it is always beneficial to get on conversations with your ICP, record these conversations, right? They will be accessible forever. You can even have AIs um, evaluate the sentiment of the conversation and distinguish some pain points in your podcast so that you can know where the moving target is, the product market fit is, right? So that's the goal here. I also have some of my clients that previous to doing podcasts, they will have their prospects fill out some forms, right? With some questions such as, what is your top three goals? If you could fix that goal tomorrow, what would happen in your business, for example? So this can also be powerful because you can use this not only as data, but you can follow up with these people with this exact problem that they had, and be like, hey, have you fixed that problem? Can I help you do that? So market research, greatly underestimated, underrated, under appreciated and used in this market as a tool to just generate more sell and go for market domination. A lot of my clients, they stopped experimenting since so long ago. They're just doing the same, and expecting different results. So the more you research about your audience, the more data you have, the better your experiments will be, and the more experiments you can lead at scale. On a daily basis, I'm just listening to my clients, the keywords that they use, and I'm using these keywords to hatch up new campaigns, new hypotheses, right? And once I have a jackpot of a campaign, if a lot of people are responding to these precise keywords that I use, I'm like, okay, that is the vocabulary I need to use at scale. And again, I don't know any mechanisms that can do that better than cold email and direct response, right? I mean, a landing page, not really. A landing page, it's hard because there's a lot of words on that page and lots of colors and stuff. Facebook ads, maybe Facebook ads, but Facebook ads have a lot of complexity. They can be shown at multiple places. So cold outreach, generally, it's like in their mailbox, right? It's a controlled environment without much variance. So just by using precise keywords at the right time, you might know that this is the catchphrase you need to use in your marketing. So I talked about content that you can build off these podcasts. Obviously, these will fuel some of my LinkedIn posts, text posts, right? I use Opus to cut these in multiple pieces and get some organic reach with some hashtag on YouTube Shorts, Twitter, and TikTok with Opus. Opus quite amazing this year. And the type of results you can get with this approach, which is the main reason why I'm doing podcasting, other than my general interest in podcasts and learning and connecting with people. At some point, I scaled it to 100 meetings a week machine, and I used to close 10% in clients. So I don't know of anything that can scale faster for that cheap. But what problems do people have with that? What are they seeing that I'm not? Because I'm like, okay, this is the greatest thing since sliced bread. Most people are like, yeah, and I'll take too much time, or I don't know, because most people do not have a crap load of quantity of leads, right? They might have like, I don't know, 5 to 10 a week. Maybe the 100 is scary to them, but it's mostly a thing of time. They think that doing a podcast is super complicated. It's resource taking. So you can do a 15 minutes podcast. You can also outsource this to your sales rep. You don't necessarily need to fill your calendar like I did. There's big interest in filling this calendar of mine. I mean, if I'm connected with a CEO of a founder, sooner or later they're going to buy something from me. So I think it's hyper scalable, and one of the reason why I took it to some extreme. But most of the process is automated. The outreach certainly is the full outreach process done on Apollo and SendGrid. And AI is coming to do the interviews for you as well, right? There will be AI. So probably 80% of my interviews will be done by an AI of some kind pretty soon. Let's say people that aren't experienced with podcasts, and sort of struggle with presenting themselves in public will get the AI version of me, and I can get the 20% cream of the crop on my side. Um, so yeah, podcasts don't take long. They don't cost much as well if you do it with a low tech stack like I presented today, namely Zoom, Apollo, Opus. The total cost of this full stack is 200 ish, 150 ish per month. Hyper cheap. Um, then what kind of excuse would people have? It's like, oh, I'm not a podcaster. I don't know how to do it. Anyone can learn how to ask questions. And if you're not good at asking questions, listening, and solving people's problem, I mean, you're probably not an entrepreneur, because that's what entrepreneurs are. They're great entrepreneurs are great salespeople. They know how to listen, ask the right questions, um, empathize, understand people's reality, and they're naturally curious as well. So this should come as natural for most people. So yeah, like I think generally speaking, even before getting to these podcast specific problems, I think my audience just like super distracted. They're super focused on some things and they're overwhelmed generally by life. They don't even have mind space to think about a lead channel that could generate them lots of money. They're generally wasting their time like running interviews and hiring humans when they should be building systems that will last forever instead. Um, or I don't know, they're overinvested in ads. I've tried ads for sure. Like I've tried ads quite extensively, still do, but nothing comes even close to what podcasts can generate, right? When you think of something that's fun, when you think of a lead gen mechanism, something that can have you learn, something that will produce marketing content, it can increase your thought leadership and authority, increase your close rate. Nothing even comes close to podcasts. It'll get you followers. It's just super exponential and super scalable. So if there's one thing that people are not catching up to nowadays, it's probably this. AI, there's a lot of AI hype, there's a lot of AI potential, but AI is still yet to hatch from the AGI egg. Then things will become pretty flabbergasting. But podcast as a lead gen funnel to grow your brand, grow your business, get customers. I've seen nothing else like it, which is why I started Podbuyer, right? Podbuyer is the same exact thing as Top Leads, same prices, right? 2.5K per month for coaching, 3.5K for done for you. Then we fully do that setup for you, that full funnel, right? Gonna talk about last but not least the full funnel of it. That's interesting to some of you because it doesn't stop at podcasting and publishing content and following up with the person, but yeah, Podbuyer, setting up Apollo, SendGrid, the mailboxes, getting you in the opens, writing emails for you, launching the campaigns, meeting once a week, answering your question, getting into analysis of what we launched last week, fixing the problems that might arise off your campaign, advising you on the podcast itself, how to be a good host, good question asker, and so much more. We just make sure that you're set up for that. Our goal is not to stick around forever. We just want you to get access to the core knowledge and fly by your own wings. Now, one piece I've been adding to the podcast funnel recently has been masterminding with people on a monthly basis. So you take 10% of your best podcast guests. In my case, my ICP is serial entrepreneurs, CEOs, investor hybrids, and I get 10% of their asses on my mastermind so that we can exchange insights, accountability, and yeah, just build cool shit together, solve each other's problems, and provide support to one another. Support part is important because it's quite lonely to be an entrepreneur. So I have the podcast, and every month the really best people that I meet, I'm hopping on with them on a call. Which, by the way, I need to convince them of that. They have very few times, so I really, and building a mastermind is a beast in itself, a beast that I'm still trying to figure out. But it's mostly about having the best people on a monthly podcast call, outgoing people that are all about adding value, which is a rare breed, by the way. And as soon as you have a low performer with high performers, well, you've ruined like most of a mastermind call. Um, so yeah, but incredibly bullish on just coming up with these mastermind constantly on a monthly basis and just constantly adding value to someone with new stuff. Me, I naturally come up with that. And also, I also force myself to come up with valuable stuff on these mastermind calls, what I'm up to, innovating constantly. And when you just do that at scale, you become incredibly valuable to everyone that you've surrounded yourself with. And next thing you know, they pay you, right? The glass filling theory. So yeah, we have podcasting, we have mastermind, and you generally they become my clients, right? The last step of my funnel is, again, very smart. I'm not hiring any humans nowadays. It's me and my bots and my co-founders and my CEOs. These are people I surround myself with. I don't surround myself with employees. Yeah, and that thesis is hyper strong again. And the last step of the funnel is these clients becoming friends, business partners, and affiliates. Um, these are all synonym, right? To me, the affiliate's probably the worst synonym in there, but you'll understand what I mean is that they just naturally refer my product, right? And I pay them for it because, yeah, why not? Money is a nice measure of exchange. So I don't only want to make them proud when I'm serving other clients, I also want to reward them financially with energy, right? It just makes the whole thing hyper scalable. So what I get at the bottom of the pyramid is all these clients that I accumulated over the years, and they constantly refer me new clients. Plus, I'm getting all the new top of the funnel. So this system, I call it a total market domination system. It's a new product that I launched. So if you want me to take charge of the full thing from podcast to helping you run a mastermind to selling these clients, right? Closing them through your content, your mastermind, your newsletters, your remarketing, and finally having them sell your products at the bottom of the pyramid with an appealing affiliate system. I call that the total market domination system. It's a full done for you. It starts at 5K per month, that product, and yeah, only accepting a couple clients on that one. So first, let me know what you think in that video of like this full lead gen podcasting mad invention of mine. I mean, I didn't invent it for sure, but I'm still, I'm probably the one scaling it to the furthest on this planet, and certainly the only one pairing it with masterminds and the whole affiliate thing, which makes it hyper scalable. It's for people that want to make a crap load of money. Basically, it's yeah, it's the closest thing to having a hyper scalable machine that will have you dominate your market in less than a couple of years. So tell me what you think about that, and also tell me your thoughts on the mastermind stuff that I shared today, the affiliate stuff, my not hiring humans and partnering with top CEOs and founders stuff. I'd love to get your opinion on all of that.